Would you like it? So it's been 11 hours of playing.
Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours trulies. My name is Kaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And we find ourselves once more amid the towering stacks of your library. And Kay, I would like to invite you into my medicine lodge.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the smell was.
The vellum seal is not quite perfect, so some of the aroma has escaped a little bit, but most of it is still firmly inside. So duck in while I hold this flap open. Hold your nose.
Did you say
in
duck?
you go. 3, 2, 1. In you go. There we go.
Oh.
Okay, now we're... it's nice and toasty in here, isn't it?
It's kind of hot and humid. That's what more the words I would use. But...
Yeah. I didn't know much about medicine lodges.
No. Yes.
You were going to say something undermining there, but that's okay. This is a safe space.
I'm trying to be positive.
Yeah. That's what the medicine lodge is for. Yeah. So I kind of tried to imagine, sort of thematically, what it would be about, because I'm not into cultural appropriation. So we've gone a little bit of sauna, as they say. Yeah. A little bit of banya, as they say in Russia. That's the steam baths. A little bit of hammam.
Yes, very much.
The Middle Eastern version with
Where did you get the tiles?
Yeah, that was some work, and there are some parts of the ceiling that are less insulated now than they were before. But look, we make do with what we have.
It doesn't work if you break down the library as it stands around you.
Everything that was in the library is still in the library.
That's like that guy who sorted the book by alphabetic order, and like everything is still in there. It's still the same book.
That was Douglas Adams and Terry Jones, by the way. I credited that to Douglas Adams, and it was Terry Jones who wrote it. But
yeah, so that doesn't mean it's useful.
Yeah.
Or serving its original purpose, for that matter.
We're sort of drifting away from the whole point of the medicine lodge, which, less successful.
What do I smell burning?
I didn't have, sage or menthol or whatever.
Cedar wood.
None of that. So this is just some gunk that I got out of the duck memorial pond.
Oh.
So whatever grows well on duck blood, which is still the color of the pond.
Seems to be very persistent, doesn't it?
You'd
think that it, washes away, but no, I guess
it's a pond. Where would it wash to?
There's water feeding into it. It's not a stagnant pond.
Pretty fetid now with all the duck blood.
Well, maybe a dead duck clogged the drain or something.
Okay, wait, hold on. No negative thoughts in the medicine lodge.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't smell great. But on the plus side, after 8 or 9 hours, you stop smelling anything, really.
Have you had any visions yet?
Yes. As our readers at home may remember, at your recommendation, I built this medicine lodge so I could commune, just catching everyone up on the unnecessary lore about this literary podcast, commune with the spirit of the bear and maybe gain some wisdom as to how to deal with these stealthy fucking burglar bears that have stolen my anti or pro bear
suits. You only have 1 week left until the end of bear season.
I think it's October 31st now. Could be.
Could
be October 31st. So beginning of November is the end of bear season. I mean, ups and downs, partly successful. The spirit of the bear did in fact appear after 6 days of... I think we're dating.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Mazel tov.
The conversation took a different turn than I expected. Went very personal. I asked him what things were like among bears and to try and get into the bear psyche. And he told me about the trial of this hibernation and then fattening cycle that feels like you're missing out on a lot of the year. And I found myself quite sympathetic to that. I mean, I have missed out on a lot of the world since I came here.
Well, you've got all the books in the world.
And I do appreciate it. And the experience of the inner world during hibernation is apparently quite revelatory.
Oh.
As I caught only a glimpse of in this here medicine lodge as I was suffering dehydration delirium.
You didn't drink for 6 days? Ooh, that's not so, are you sure this was a actual vision and not the Scruff app?
How is anyone sure about anything in this environment? I mean,
very good point.
You can already feel the oppressive heat of the steam sort of pressing against your temples.
I'm just going to take my blazer off.
Yeah, go ahead. This is a safe space. Readers at home, don't look, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, avert your eyes from this podcast. I haven't yet shared names or anything. It's just a casual getting to know each other.
But bear, if it's the great bear spirit.
I mean,
Urse, maybe.
Urse. Yeah, that's a cool name. I'll ask him.
Ursula, if it could be.
No, it's a male one.
All right,
it's a male one.
Fair enough.
At least we know that part.
Okay, well, I'm not going to ask.
A gentleman doesn't tell.
No, exactly. That's
so
lead you not into temptation and some of that kind of thing.
Oh God, it reminds me of my favorite prayer, which goes, "Lord, give me the strength to resist temptation, but not yet, my Lord, not yet."
Yes.
So, kind of an ongoing process. I think I'll stay in the lodge and try and commune with the spirit of the bear some more. I mean, we've been having a good time.
Staying warm is not a problem in here, so.
No,
Maybe overheating might be an issue when there's a bear around. Things do get steamy in here.
Yeah,
One
I
way
mean,
or the other.
we are talking about a vellum-wrapped sort of long house ensconced around the fireplace that have kept.
Yes, and you actually have managed to get the smoke out of here, which is good because we're not like choking. At least I don't think. I am, so
No,
that's
it's just a
good.
little bit of incense around the edges.
My
To
skin's going a little bit parched, so I think I'm being slowly smoked in here. But
I think will be quite delicious on the way out.
pardon?
Bear certainly says so. Anyway,
Oh,
so no.
wait,
Anyway. No. Come on, this is the medicine lodge. This is a place of peace. We're just ourselves.
So
here.
there's no bears perched on the bookshelf outside when I make my way out here.
I told you about this. Is the spirit of. Oh, do you think maybe they tricked me?
I don't know.
Do you think maybe they tricked me while I was delirious, waiting for the spirit of the bear for 6 days, sitting in the heat and oppression, and then these asshole bears who have burgled 3 of my armored pro or anti-bear suits have now burgled me of what little like bear innocence
Oh, might be the bare bones. Maybe the bare necessities.
of Mother Nature's recipes. Okay. We'll see. I'll just spend another week in here.
Okay.
And we'll just see how it turns out.
Bring some incense.
Wait, if
Actual
that's not
incense.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
not just pond scum.
And also not chili powder flakes to ward off the bears or anything like that. So
Doesn't work.
no.
No,
I guess not.
these library bears, it doesn't
They're
work.
Well seasoned. No, wait. Let's not talk about seasoned. I don't want to be seasoned here.
Okay. Speaking of
Bears.
yeah, okay, let's go with that. Speaking of bears, what do we have in store for our readers this week?
This week's book is Der Grosse Fetisch by Sprague de Camp. I think it's a translation again. I don't know how this keeps happening.
We keep getting the German version, so
Yes.
this is the Great Fetish.
Yes, it's a novel by I think it's Mr. de Camp. It could be.
Then we use their pronouns.
Yes,
Easy.
of course. The Grosse Fetisch. It shows the titular
There's
character.
a lot going on.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot going on in this
Everybody
cover.
look at your podcasting device.
If you look down at your podcasting device now, thank you for the reminder there. If you look down at your podcasting device now, you should be seeing the cover of today's book. And if not, you can check the show notes for an image and a link. Unless apparently you're using Apple Podcasts. I'm still trying to figure that out. Otherwise, you can always go to covermyasscast.com, where every episode, nicely numbered, shows the correct episode art.
So, what we have is our main character from the book,
Ah, yes.
young Atzi, on his quest to steal water from the gods.
Yeah, I thought that was a peculiar name for ostensibly a young Greek figure.
I was going to say Roman, but yes. And he's wearing his famous Aztec sneakers.
Yeah, true. See, the reason that I thought they were Greek in my reading, I thought everyone was Greek, and much of my reading is based on the idea that they're Greek, so let's see how that pans out, was that Atzi belongs to a sort of group of youths known as the Ephebes. Ephebes is the proper Greek pronunciation. That means young men. But in this case, it's a class including both Ephebes and She-Phebes and They-Phebes, where people in their youth just sort of, like, they're not too particular about their gender identity just yet.
Yeah.
Like, Atzi had just come out of a few months of trying she on for a while, and then she decided, I'll cut my hair and let's try being a he-phebe for a while.
Yeah.
And see if that's a better fit. On the cover here, you see him facing off against one of the divine guardians because having stolen water from the gods, a young sandsurfer is pursued by merciless divine guardians, hell-bent on keeping primitive humankind innocent of water sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
A different kind of book.
A tale for the ages, clearly Promethean.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's,
who stole fire from the gods.
Well, yeah, in this case, water from which seems like much more of a important thing. It's a sandsurfer. They've been doing the downhill surf competition.
Yes.
Like there's no water, so no sea, so basically the shore keeps going downhill. And of course, this being the Antiquity, ski lifts have not been invented yet. So whichever part you surf down, you also have to walk back up again, so which accounts for all the fit young bodies that we see in the beginning of the book.
Yeah. You've got to be strong. And also, in a world without water, people didn't like live very long. I'm impressed that they lived as long as they did.
Well, you know, it's one of those origin tales. Take the Bible, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, let there be light. Okay, so there was light. And the sun is created on what, day 3 or day 4? Yeah. So what did the light before then come from? You know, it's like...
Let there be rock! And the music was good, and the music was loud! I don't think that was completely glossed over, because there is the mention of various forms of flora. They ate lotuses and cacti and other, like, moist vegetables and the like, which sometimes they would squeeze for what they call desert wine, a gross, sort of chunky, milky substance.
You really have been like on gross, chunky substances the last year, haven't you? I mean, I know you're like, there's a lot of pond scum to deal with, but there is a water cooler in the cafeteria.
It is a very precious
and there's no
resource.
salmons in there.
It is very, very precious to me because I don't see any way for it to be refilled.
There's a guy who comes in every Tuesday.
Oh, so I've just been drinking from the...
Oh, sorry, I thought you were.
Well, I will be now.
No, good on you.
44 weeks I've been here, sort of drinking out of my cupped hands from various... You know what? Positive thinking. This is the Medicine Lodge, positive thinking. So, great that this happens, and that there's such a great literary parallel with this book that we've been reading together, because, yes, I will discover delicious, clear water.
Fresh, cooled or room temperature at your leisure.
Yeah, from the two spouts in little triangular cups that are super inconvenient, so you can never put them down anywhere.
Yeah, well...
I don't know why they do that.
They come with the contract.
Why are they triangular cups that you can't put down anywhere? Oh, so you don't litter?
Maybe. I think you're supposed to, like, drink from it and then throw it away in the trash immediately, and not, like... People who are going to leave their cups around are going to leave them around anyway, be they triangular or not.
Well, I'm already committing. I'm not going to litter. I'll figure out some productive way to utilize...
I'm looking forward to seeing the decorative lamp that you're going to make for the...
Yes, you get me. I'm going to utilize those cups because, for our readers at home, did you know, and for UK, did you know that there is a distinction, a very slight distinction that nobody knows about between the words use and utilize?
Oh.
In as much as they have a difference, which is not acknowledged to exist in common speech, but only in pedantic thesaurial definition, to utilize means to put something to a profitable use for which it was not intended.
Oh.
So I'm going to use this iron to iron my shirts, or I'm going to utilize this broken iron as a doorstop.
Utilize the working iron to make bacon, but...
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Duck bacon. Oh, no, we're out of ducks.
Yeah, we are definitely out of ducks.
They come flying back in spring, migration.
Which reminds me, I haven't seen much of the velociraptors lately.
Haven't you?
I've been in the Medicine Lodge.
Right.
So.
Maybe the bears got them?
Oh,
maybe they sent out a war party? I did hear some weird chanting last night. Do velociraptors chant?
No, they sort of squawk and they trumpet and they warble, but they don't chant in my experience.
Or might have been you. Have you been sitting here chanting in the Medicine Lodge?
I mean, I've been in the Medicine Lodge. Who knows what I've been doing?
Let's go with that. Then.
Aside from the spirit of the bear.
Well.
Wink. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Wink, 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 wink.
Nudge, nudge. Say no more.
Okay, well, I won't then. So, we have young Atzi on the cover. Yeah, it was taking us a while to get through. Facing off against one of the divine guardians mentioned previously.
Yes.
A very large, monstrous creature with a sword and a shield, who is clearly like threatening and attacking, while Atzi has a protective gesture holding the container in which he has stolen
the
water from the gods.
Yes.
Which he stole in a special vase. Since this was the first container of water, it's treated with great deference, and so it's the Vase Deference. The Vase of Deference.
Yes.
So I'll just enjoy that one for a little bit.
He's snuck his way into the quarters of Atlana, the goddess of water, which was guarded by the guardians of Huitzilopochtli, the god of will and war and the patron of sun and fire, who is responsible for there being no water available to the humans.
Yeah, I liked how it borrowed from Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and in this case, Aztec mythology.
I mean, if you look at the cover, you can definitely see a bit of an Aztec look going on there.
A wrap tunic. Well, everybody was doing wrap tunics.
I know, but look at the stonework beneath the construct's legs.
Let me pull it up, yeah.
And then, of course, there's the Eiffel Tower sword he's holding, but that's not really...
Oh, my goodness.
Look at the buildings in the back. That's all Aztec.
The ziggurat is Aztec, but the columns are Doric.
Oh, I suppose so, yes.
Right? That's sort of
the Aztec didn't really do columns, did they?
Not a lot. They liked the step pyramids, the ziggurats. Oh, I'm looking at this little head here. It's a gargoyle, essentially.
Oh, yes, pretty much.
From the French gargouille. But then if you look on the shield of the monster, it has
it's got the snakes.
Has a very European style to it. If this was an Aztec drawing, they would have a very different aesthetic. They would have the more blocky shapes.
Right, yeah. They would not be so tapered. They would have a more constant width over the length of their bodies.
This is so cool. I hadn't realized how pervasive like tunics were.
Ah, yes.
Because you see someone wearing a tunic, do you know if they're Greek? Do you know if they're Aztec, Inca?
Roman, yes. I mean, it is a very convenient way of getting dressed, It's like just take a piece of cloth and wrap it around you, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I saw this lovely image on the internet somewhere, and it was like a picture of a Mexican pyramid, Aztec, then a picture of an Egyptian pyramid, and then a picture of the Borobudur, and then like a little map showing like how farly spread across the world. Look at it, like these similar structures so widely spread around the world. What does this mean? And some smartass commented, well, it probably means that that's a very good way of piling up a bunch of stones and not having them fall over in a very long time.
Yes. Those are the ones that made it. All the other designs that they tried did not.
Exactly.
So. I think Angkor Wat also has pyramidal structures.
Yeah, they're a little bit shallower, I think, but that's basically how they found them. They found these weird hills sticking out of the jungle, and they were like, oh, wait, that's a building.
Turns out there's a building underneath there.
There was recently some scanning being done there to get even more details. And it's guys flying LiDAR drones around. Might have been sonar, I don't know. Basically, good way to get through the vegetation, so probably not LiDAR.
Yeah.
But just like picking, there's a building. It's like just picking them out and going like, there's much more than we thought.
There's one. It's
like,
turns out there's loads of them.
Kind of makes sense. These were ginormous complexes. Then makes sense that there were like surrounding buildings that nobody's found yet because they're in the middle of the jungle.
Oh, I have a friend who recently visited Italy and went and visited Pompeii and Herculaneum.
Yeah.
Both of them cities out of Antiquity that were destroyed. Pompeii famously through a volcanic eruption.
Oh, Herculaneum in the same eruption. It's just the lesser well known of the pair.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, because Herculaneum he was more impressed with because that's a city that you can walk around in. That was a city of 20,000 people. I don't think they preserved the cast of bodies like in Pompeii, where hollows were found in the ash layer that they filled with gypsum to get the silhouettes of the people who had died there, because they were covered in volcanic ash and just evaporated.
I think there's actually a cast of someone having a wank who's like going like, world's ending, might as well crank one out before
Hell yes, absolutely.
It's like, or he was caught completely off guard.
He was just really focused on the task at hand, as we say. Yeah, but he was really impressed that you could just sort of walk around there, and there were shops, and there were like public bathhouses and toilets and homes, and it was just a city with city stuff.
Yeah, well, that's I guess how people lived back then in cities.
Yeah,
we can't imagine it now.
Like, you think maybe of Rome, and you think about this sprawling metropolis, and there's this idea, like, thinking of Romans, and that they took a day trip to the market in a big city, and that they had some snacks there from a street food vendor, just like one would today when one goes shopping.
One fried fish or something else.
You had street food vendors in probably Angkor Wat, because people would travel, and you want like some fresh bread or something, you're going to have to buy it from a baker.
I mean, people didn't have home ovens. I mean, that was like way too complex. There was usual communal. Either you went to the baker or there was a communal oven service. It's like you still have in Northern Africa, in Morocco. You have like your amphora, like vase type thing, which you just like go around.
The deferential,
and you put your ingredients in, and you close it up with a stopper, and you cake it up, and then you take it to the place around the back of the bathhouse, which is where the fires are stoked for the bathhouse, and you give them your jar, and they put it in the ashes and in the fire, and they keep it stoked. And in the meantime, you go around to the front, and you go have your bath, and you sit around there, and you go. And on the way back, so a few hours later, you go back and you pick up your own vase, and you go home with that, and that's dinner.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
That's brilliant. We can do that. I have the fireplace here. We have the hammam little pond.
Yes.
This is great. This is great.
I don't think I have any amphoras.
Leave it to me. You know how ingenious I am. Yes, I'm an ingenious.
We're looking forward to seeing your pottery wheel next week.
Yeah, that's what well, you may have to wait a week or two. Well, I'm continuing my romantic exploration with what maybe might turn out to be one of the actual burglar bears who's just disguised themselves as the spirit of the bear. But we'll see. We'll see.
Isn't the spirit of the bear in all bears?
Certainly is in me.
Right.
Listen, back to the book.
So he loses the competition, and being bummed out, he decides to make war on the gods. He's like, if he can't enjoy the sandsurfing competition, then nobody can. And he goes on his vengeful quest to the home of the gods.
Kind of in the spirit of the way that the Greek pantheon, they were all very petty. So I guess they could understand. Like, it's a fair cop. It's a fair cop that one of these mortals will come and fuck us up.
He gets a visit from Xochopili, the god of games, gays, and male prostitutes.
Why have I never heard of this god? Xochopili? Oh, are you sure it's ch and not ch? I think they had the chirifonian.
Cochopili?
I kind of want to say it.
I suppose, no, I was going to say Mexican, but no, Mexican doesn't sound like Aztec because Mexican sounds like Spanish.
Yes, they do have, there are still Aztec, pockets of culture here and there. I saw an example at one point of a Christmas celebration in sort of Native American hinterlands of Mexico. A Christmas celebration that included a procession. Now, so far so good. Lots of floats, lots of lights, lots of candles, and all of this. A big effigy of Mary. Okay, she looks scary. That's a little bit weird, but she's clearly the Virgin Mary. And then next up is Jesus, a naked dancing man with leopard spots all over him, who is dancing with fire, and he is Jesus. He is El Salvador, and he is clearly the jaguar god also.
But that was the way that Christianity went about those places. It was like embrace and extend. They soon learned that no, your gods are wrong, and this is what you're supposed to be worshipping didn't work. And they went well, you got it right, but this guy you are calling the jaguar god is actually Jesus, and and this woman who is the fertility thing is actually Mary, and just overlay Christianity on that, and then people
just
can
adapt it to
kind of pretend that they're still worshipping their own gods.
And that's how it worked with the Germans when they tried that there. They figured out that the important thing was not so much the gods that they worshipped, but the regularity of the festivities, and they were perfectly fine with accepting a better god than Odin, because he's not very good when you think about it. When you're from a practical point of view.
He's a bit of a bastard.
Yeah, a lot of them kind of are. So a god who is just good and caring, that sounds great, but we will not give up our Midwinterfest. Well, when is it? It's at the...
Turns out that's when Jesus was born.
Guess what? Oh, great news! That's when Jesus was born. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. An auspicious day. Doesn't it? Yeah, that makes complete sense. And when is the solstice? Well, it's this date. And the other tribe says, no, it's that date. And the other tribe says, no, there's actually a different date, because they all keep different calendars. Hey, guess what? There's 12 days of Christmas.
Oh.
That is literally why we have 12 days of Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because the various Germanic tribes did not agree on when solstice was, and the Christian missionaries were like, good news, everyone.
I mean, that's kind of bullshit, because, anybody with the slightest bit of astrology knows when the solstice is.
No, it's tricky still.
No, it's not.
Why?
It's the day that the sun comes up the furthest south, and the day before it came up above the horizon.
How do you know what's north?
You don't need to. You just put a little theodolite. You put one reference point, and you put a little marker. This is where the sun comes up today. Then the next day you put up in a little marker. This is where the sun comes up. And at one point there's going to be the last one in the line, and then it starts moving back up.
Well, yeah.
That was the day that the solstice was.
This job was outsourced to fucking Ulf and Hengist, who they did not get up as early as they were supposed to.
They didn't have anything else to do back then except look at the stars at night. That's why the early astronomy is so big. It's like
they didn't have alarm clocks either.
They had goats and chickens.
What the fuck? What the fuck are you just saying to me right now? A goat is as good as an alarm clock.
I suppose they make noise in the morning. Yeah, when chickens do.
Yeah, at dawn? After dawn?
Roosters? I don't know.
Yeah, after dawn. I think the sun's over the horizon before the rooster crows. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's not, but anyway. So let's go back to the...
No, let's dig in. Let's dig in. Let's just dig in our little heels on a subject that we are not very knowledgeable about. No, but clearly you are. Sorry, I forgot about the spirit of the medicine lodge. I defer, of course, to your superior knowledge on goats.
So, young Atsi...
Oh, yes, we were doing a book.
We were doing a book.
Yes.
Young Atsi manages to make his way to the realm of the gods by doing a little bit of Xochpili worshipping.
The god of...
he decides to give him a ride along to the spirit plane. And he manages to discover that, yes, there has been a great injustice upon humanity because Atlana has been held prisoner by Huitzilopochtli, who has been thinking that, he kind of likes the humans, in their drought, and they only have the sun and the heat to worship, and there's no such thing as water to... get them by, and
this is such a good book.
It is. It's amazing, and he manages to find Atlana, not fight her, and basically steal her water. I mean, she's more than happy with it. She's happy to give it to him. It's like he's stealing it from the other gods than from her.
Yeah.
He goes with her blessing. It turns into a bit of a wet affair, but he's completely enthralled by it, like it's nothing he's ever experienced before in his young life.
Well, one doesn't know. I mean, he was a she-thief for a while. while. We don't know what's under that tunic, nor should we care.
No,
Atlanta
still,
enjoys
like
it, and so
there was no water, so this is like new.
Yeah. Oh, my father studied anthropology, and he had numerous texts up in his attic that I studied sometimes as a young bored kid, where I learned about the Yanomami Indians, Native Americans, of course, in South America, and various other of these anthropology cases. And one of them was about the prevalence of oral sex.
Oh.
And as a young man sort of coming up and learning about my body, that was one of the subjects that I became a little bit interested in on the sly.
I can imagine that
retiring with certain books that it's actually quite common. Oral sex is practiced very commonly in human cultures that practice regular bathing and not outside. So,
well, yes, one can
so
imagine.
it may have been that Atlana was able to show Atsi some cool mouth stuff.
I can imagine, like,
After he was used to either over the pants or pants off, eyes closed, she must have opened some. So out he runs, tugging his tunic back
into place and
clutching the Vase of Deference.
Yes, chased by Pynal, the messenger of Huitzilopochtli.
Oh, yeah,
Which is, I think, the Eiffel Tower wielding giant on the front of the...
Yeah, it's not a very good knife, is it?
Well, it's like
it's more of a
pointy end goes into the other guy. It kind of works.
Pynal, I mean, he is known already among some of the Ephebes and She-Thebes as a bit of a cottage troll. Like he sort of hangs around and goes, "Hello, ladies and young gentlemen, how are you doing?"
He's known as, well,
not
not exactly the bogeyman, but, better keep away from him. Nobody wants to tell you why exactly, but they do tell, better stay away from him.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna pass by that temple, walk by in pairs, at least.
Yes. That spike of him is not indicative, so don't bother. Atsi just having been introduced to a certain oral... traditional, yes, that's sort of this frightened off by Pynal because, look at that mouth, look at those teeth.
No, none of this. Thank you, thank you.
I'm not having any of that.
But he gives kind of a soft but firm no, which is the advances of Pynal are soundly rejected without being too oh no, thank you, I'm fine. You're good. We're fine. Moving on.
Of course, Pynal becomes a little bit unduly persuasive. No, you're not getting anywhere with that Vase of Deference.
So fortunately, he's quickly saved by one of his friends, Frenulon. Shows up and distracts the cottage troll.
Having won the sandsurfing competition, Frenulon is doing a little bit of gloating at first, but he's worried about what happened to young Atsi. And he's gone. I mean, they've had their differences, but they've also had their dalliances. So
he's had their differences.
So checking up on him, he shows up just in time to jump the cottage troll on the shoulders and distract him long enough for Atsi to make off with the vase.
He certainly knows how to distract. He learned that from their teacher, sort of the Fagin. No, the artful dodger, I would say, to this gang of Ephebes and She-Thebes and They-Thebes. Ganymede the Thirsty.
Which is a weird name, considering that...
in a world without water?
Water, yeah.
I think maybe they weren't talking about his need for hydration.
Ludwig the Breathing or something, It's like...
I don't think they meant that he wanted to have a drink. I think that they learned very different things from her, and that Atsi will be greatly appreciated as next a great educator among their ranks.
Well, great hydrator, but we're getting a little bit ahead of the story at this point.
Because it is a heroic tale from the ancient traditions, and this is something that the Aztecs and the Greeks and the Chinese had in common. When you have a hero who goes on a quest, on a journey, they have to perform many labors, they have to overcome many challenges. The first, of course, was the cottage troll Pynal. After that, on his way back to the mortal realm with the Vase of Deference and Atlana's water, he encountered the chicken plucker.
Yeah.
And the chicken plucker's son.
But he's only plucking chickens until the chicken plucker comes.
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, is that?
I think the original was pheasants, actually, but...
Where once again he is helped by his friend Philogelos, who is not one of the Thebes and She-Thebes and They-Thebes, but he is a hardworking stand-up tragedian.
Yes.
Which, let me tell you, is not a popular form of entertainment.
No, I hope you like rotten tomatoes and weak lettuce, because that's
he does. Yeah. That is completely his thing. But his stand-up tragedy routines are just atrocious.
Tragic.
Hey, everybody else just having a bad day? Me too.
Yeah,
me too. It's the worst.
Got kicked over like a dog peed on me this morning before I got out of bed.
Yeah. Oh, you're all turning away. Yeah, That fits.
Just get on with it.
And just inside going, yes, I'm so good at this. Everybody's bummed. Oh, I'm amazing.
Yeah, brought down everybody's day again.
And if downbeat, upsetting stories are what you like, then you're in luck. Because after this, Atsi becomes involved in the Titomachy, a famous conflict about the displaying or the binding of breasts.
Yes.
Related to the Titanomachy, the great conflict with the Titans in Greek mythology.
Oh, Greek mythology isn't my strong suit.
Well, there are other Greek things that you're more familiar with, I understand. Yes. There was the binding versus the underwire versus the stuffing for those who didn't have. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that Atsi was particularly well equipped to deal with that, because he had just depending on which kind of territory he was walking through the binders or the stuffers or the underwirers, he was able to just casually adapt, because he did spend some time as a she-phoebe. Yeah. And he managed to sneak his way through there, which is, I always like a hero who is as cunning as they are brave.
Which shows in the last part of the book,
where
he gets cornered by the stone constructs, which have been sent by. No, I'm not going to even try that. Which is the stone the stone constructs of Huitzilopochtli, and led by Pinal, and who are managed to corner him, and he stands there on the edge of the rocky escarpment, and he's holding the Vase of Deference in his hands, and he decides, like, well, I'm not going to be captured with it, so I'm just going to drain it. And after he drinks all of the contents, which takes a surprisingly long time, he casts the vase off the edge of the cliff until it shatters down below. And constructs go like, yeah, okay, we were supposed to bring that back, but it's been destroyed now, so yeah, that's fine.
They can't see very well, being simple biklopses.
Yeah, exactly. They see the thing flying down, it gets shattered, and then screw it, and let's go back home. There's no honor to be had in here. We can drag him back with us, but we were only meant to get the Vase of Deference back, and it was it's been destroyed now. It's fine.
And so
Witsi is going to be fine with it. Atlana's power vessel has been destroyed, so whatever, we're good. It's
and if you were looking forward to a tragedy now that this has all gone wrong, you're in for a disappointment.
Yes,
because our Atsi was very clever.
Yes, I mean he emptied the Vase of Deference, and as soon as the constructs are gone, there's the 60 days and nights of the Great Wizening, where him standing on the edge of the cliff, he fills the waters of the earth, the empty spaces. He drank it in 60 seconds, but it took him 60 days. The waters rose.
The Sandsurf Valley became what's a good beach?
Surfer's Paradise, I think it's called one of them. It's
Paradise.
It's in Australia, not in South America. I don't know if it's South American surfing, but
that's probably what Uluru used to be used for as diving.
Sand surfing. He stands there wearing his Aztec sneakers and his hiked tunic.
And he tells everybody, "Hey, Ganymede the Thirsty, you're in luck." Readers had told me it took him a while to get this one.
I had to look at the note before that.
If you were thirsty, you're in luck, because here comes
the Great Wizening.
The Great Wizening. What a fantastic book
leaving Atsi as the bringer of the water.
The water bearer.
Yes. I think it was a good take on an old story,
which is something that I really like. There are certain stories that some people call them old hat, but myths and fairy tales are the stories that we tell over and over for thousands of years. So there must be something fundamentally about them that we love.
There was no TV, there was no phones. People were bored. They made up shit to tell each other.
And also, some of them had food preparation methods that resulted in the release of certain psychotropic substances. That was the case with certain types of medieval Western European bread that had something that we would recognize today as lysergic diethylamine.
Yes, especially it's a fungus that grows on rye, and you get these black ears, and that's LSD. It's not very good for you. I mean, the fungus has other properties which makes you sick, but
if you're drinking largely leaded water, you probably aren't going to notice feeling.
Don't drink lemonade from lead cups, people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the acidity in the lemon helps the lead dissolve. It was one of the British kings who turned mad because of that.
Oh well, that's cool.
He loved his lemonade, and he loved drinking it from lead beakers, and it turned him mad.
Versus the Hatters, who
mercury.
Mercury
fumes. It doesn't evaporate a lot, but
if you use it a lot, and they used it for stiffening the brims of hats, turns out. That's why a lot of them had orange hair, because that's also a
lot of problems with that in the Bay Area.
Oh, is it?
During the gold rush, most of the money was actually made by people who were running the mercury mines.
Oh yes, because it's a solvent.
Yeah, the gold dissolves in mercury.
Yeah.
And then they boiled it off, and then you leave the gold. Inhaling mercury fumes is a really good idea.
So how are we going to rate this book?
Oh, yes.
So let's do in terms of scale, like from a trickle to a splash?
Are we going to rate it by river throughput, or are we going to rate it by dams which are holding back a great volume of water?
Okay, we have been recording for a while, and boy howdy have we been talking about water a lot. So there is certainly a dam being held back.
Are we going on a scale from Beaver Dam to Hoover Dam? Or on a scale from Beaver Dam to Three Gorges?
Wait, what's in between? What options are in between?
Well, there's the Hoover Dam, there's the Afsluitdijk, there's the Amsterdam, yes.
We are nowhere closer to actually figuring out. There's not a linear scale. Like there's Beaver Dam, and then there's nothing for a long,
there's
time.
lots of other dams. There's that one in Brazil, which is actually interesting because like they started building it, and they built a whole levee and a dam and everything. And then as the water started rising, they actually had teams of ecologists trying to rescue as many animals from the various little islands that started, because the animals ran away from the water, but inevitably some of them got like stuck on on little islands which had formed, and they spent a lot of effort and time to like trying to rescue as many animals as they could from drowning.
Oh,
it's like including tranquilizing jaguars and
wow.
Like, jaguars were not happy about like.
No, they're not fans of water, are they?
Well,
I think leopards are.
No, jaguars don't matter. I mean, they live in the fucking Amazon. I don't think they're particularly bothered. I mean, leopards hunt crocodiles if they get the hang of it, so they're not bothered. I think jaguars are not particularly fussed either by water, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah, still, there's a difference between jumping in to grab yourself a caiman or like being chased by water into a tree.
Oh, maybe that's where we should go. Maybe it's about thirst. Maybe it's from a dung beetle all the way up to like a jellyfish.
Oh.
In terms of how much you need water do you need?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
how's that?
From dung beetle to jellyfish, how
dung
thirsty
dung
are
beetle
you?
doesn't care. Yeah, exactly.
How
or
thirsty are you?
Ganymede, you know.
I am going to go with needs lots of water.
Yeah.
But in a pinch can do without. I'm going to go with eel.
Yeah, because they can survive on
Generally lives in water,
for
but can actually crawl across land like a snake to get from one bit of water to the next. So I'm going to go with eel.
Yeah, little snakehead motherfucker. Oh,
more
creepy.
Aztec snake symbology or something like that.
Excellent.
So there we go.
What a good book.
On a
Thank
scale
you.
from dung beetle to jellyfish, this book is rated eel.
Yeah, that makes complete
Spends
sense.
most of its time in water, but can do without in a pinch.
Thank you, Sprague de Camp, for contributing Der Grosse Fetisch, the great fetish, the story of how the human world was introduced to water sports. So, What do we have in store for our readers next week?
Next week's book is by Philip Jose Farmer. It's called Jesus on Mars.
And that about covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Art, where baffling books are reviewed, but not read by yours truly. My name is Kaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember,
we only judge a book by its cover. Oh, I could really go for a drink right now.
Yeah.
Sort of, can you imagine we made it through this whole thing and none of us said golden shower, like the golden fleece?
yeah, I suppose we do.